How do you even begin to measure the unmeasurable? Because when you talk about Michael Jordan, you're not just talking about a basketball player. You're talking about a myth so powerful that even people who never watched a single NBA game can quote his name like it's a synonym for greatness. Jordan isn't just in the record books. He is the record book, the gold standard, the ceiling everyone's been chasing for the last 30 years. But here's the thing no one ever tells you. Legends are built on more than highlights. They're built on narratives, timing, and sometimes illusions. When Jordan entered the league in 1984, basketball was big, but not global. There were stars like Magic and Bird, sure, but Jordan changed the definition of fame. He didn't just win, he made winning look like art. Every jump shot felt like a movie scene. Every dunk felt personal, and every loss felt impossible. By the time the world realized what was happening, Jordan had already turned himself into an empire. Air Jordan, Nike, Gatorade, McDonald's, you name it, he owned it. His image wasn't just on shoes, it was in people's minds. But behind all the highlight reels and sold-out sneakers was a man who competed like a machine built for one thing: domination. He didn't play to win, he played to destroy. Opponents said it felt like he was studying them, waiting for a weakness, then attacking it without mercy. Even his teammates weren't safe. If you didn't meet his standard, you'd feel it. Verbally, emotionally, maybe even physically. The same intensity that made him a god also made him, at times, unbearable. So how elite was Michael Jordan actually? Was his dominance pure skill? Or was it the perfect storm, the era, the marketing, the storytelling that turned an athlete into an immortal? Because if we're going to talk about greatness, we need to separate the man from the myth, and that's exactly what we're doing today. Section 1, the statistical monster. Let's start with the raw data, the numbers that built the myth. Because before Michael Jordan became a logo, a brand, or a billionaire, he was simply a basketball player who made statistics look like science fiction. Over 15 seasons, Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game, the highest career scoring average in NBA history, even higher than Wilt Chamberlain, who played in an era with barely any defense and no three-point line. That record still stands untouched. And in the playoffs, he got even more dangerous, averaging 33.4 points per game. Another all-time record. But Jordan's dominance wasn't just about volume, it was about consistency. For 10 seasons straight, he won the NBA scoring title. 10 in a row. That's not supposed to happen in professional sports. Every team built entire defensive schemes just to slow him down, and still failed. Even during his first full season back from retirement, at age 32, he averaged over 30 a night and led the Bulls to 72 wins, a record that stood for 2 decades. Then there's efficiency. People forget that Jordan wasn't just taking 40 shots a night. He was doing it efficiently. He shot 49.7% from the field for his career. For a shooting guard who lived on mid-range jumpers and contact drives, that's absurd. In today's analytics era, we worship true shooting percentages, and even by modern standards, Jordan's numbers hold up against the best. He didn't just score a lot, he scored smart. And when he wasn't scoring, he was everywhere. He led the league in steals 3 times, made 10 all-defensive first teams, and was named Defensive Player of the Year in 1988. The same year, he averaged 35 points. No other player in history has ever done that in a single season. That year alone could have been a Hall of Fame resume for anyone else. For Jordan, it was just another chapter. The scary part? These stats barely capture how unstoppable he felt. Watching him wasn't about numbers. It was about inevitability. Every shot looked like destiny. Every drive, like gravity itself, had stepped aside. But even monsters like Jordan faced something few could imagine: an entire league that decided, if we can't stop him fairly, we'll just rewrite the rules. Section 2. The rules built to stop him. If you want to understand how feared Michael Jordan was, you have to understand the Jordan rules. No, not the fancy biography or the Nike slogan. The actual rules created by the Detroit Pistons in the late 80s. A literal defensive playbook dedicated to one man. It wasn't about stopping the Bulls. It was about stopping Jordan. That alone tells you how elite he was. Imagine being so good that your opponents had to invent a system just to survive. The Pistons were a different breed. Known as the Bad Boys, they were the most physical team in the NBA. Tough, ruthless, and proud of it. Their strategy was simple. Hit Jordan. Hard. Every time he drove into the lane, make him pay. If he went left, push him right. If he went up, drag him down. They didn't care about elegance. They cared about pain. The goal wasn't just to guard him, it was to wear him down mentally and physically until he cracked. And for a while, it worked. The Pistons bounced the Bulls out of the playoffs 3 straight years. Jordan would walk off the court, bruised, frustrated, and furious. But instead of complaining, he responded the only way he knew how, by evolving. He spent the entire offseason bulking up, transforming his body into a weapon. The next time he faced the Pistons, it was a different story. Jordan didn't just beat the Jordan rules. He ended them. In 1991, he swept Detroit out of the playoffs, the same team that once bullied him off the floor. That moment was bigger than basketball. It was symbolic. It showed that no amount of physical punishment, no rulebook, no tough guy defense could contain him. Jordan wasn't just strong, he was adaptable. You could knock him down, but he'd always rise sharper, stronger, colder. The Jordan rules were supposed to be a cage. Instead, they became his fuel. But something else started happening during that transformation. Something that pushed his influence beyond the court. Because while the Pistons tried to contain him, the world was just beginning to worship him. Section 3. The global brand and the off-court machine. By the early 90s, Michael Jordan wasn't just dominating the court. He was quietly building a world-spanning empire. For the first time in sports history, an athlete wasn't just a player. He was a brand. His name was printed on sneakers, his face on posters, his logo on billboards that stretched from Chicago to Shanghai. Every move he made, from a jump shot to a smirk, was worth millions. It all began with a single decision, signing with Nike in 1984. At the time, Nike wasn't the giant we know today. They were struggling to compete with Adidas and Converse. But when they offered a rookie named Jordan a deal that felt insane, a signature shoe, Air Jordan, the world changed. The shoes were banned by the NBA for violating uniform policy. But Nike turned that punishment into a marketing goldmine. Their ad campaign proudly shouted, "The NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, you can still wear them." That rebellion made the brand explode. Air Jordan became a movement, and the man wearing them became larger than life. Soon, every commercial turned into mythology. The Gatorade Be Like Mike jingle, the McDonald's trick shot ads with Larry Bird, even the Space Jam movie. Everything fed one simple idea: Michael Jordan wasn't human. He was the standard. Kids didn't just watch him, they worshipped him. Even players in other sports began comparing themselves to him. But here's the thing. Jordan didn't just build his fame, he managed it like a CEO. Every image, every endorsement, every camera flash was controlled. He understood early that perception was power, and he used that power masterfully. By the time he'd won his 3rd championship in 1993, he wasn't just an athlete making millions. He was a global corporation making billions. Yet behind all that polish, the sneakers, the ads, the movie deals, there was a side the world didn't see. A side filled with exhaustion, obsession, and secrets that could have shattered the perfect image Nike spent years crafting. Because when you live as a brand, you don't just sell greatness, you have to protect it. Section 4. The shadows behind the shine. Every legend casts a shadow. and Michael Jordan's was darker than most people realize. Behind the flawless smile, the trophies, and the highlight reels was a man driven by something deeper than competition. Obsession. Winning wasn't enough for Jordan. He had to dominate. He turned everything into a battle. Golf, cards, practice drills, even coin tosses with security guards. If there was a way to win, he had to prove he was better. But that obsession came with a price. During his first retirement in 1993, whispers started to spread. Rumors about gambling debts, late-night trips to casinos, and questionable company. The media began connecting dots that the league didn't want anyone connecting. When his father was tragically murdered that same year, the speculation got darker. Some suggested there was more to the story, that Jordan's gambling might have put his family in danger. The NBA officially denied it, calling it baseless. But the timing, his sudden retirement right after the scandal, left questions that never fully went away. Even his spotless reputation on the court had blemishes. In recent years, analysts have revisited some of his defensive highlights, claiming that home scorekeepers may have inflated his steal and block stats. A small detail, maybe, but one that challenges the perfect image. Jordan never addressed those things directly. He didn't explain. He didn't defend. He just disappeared. First into baseball, then into silence. And when he finally came back, he didn't say he was sorry or tired. He said he was ready. The shadow hadn't broken him. It had reshaped him. But that obsession, the same one that fueled his greatness, didn't just affect his rivals. It affected the people who stood closest to him. Section 5, the teammates and the narrative. To understand Jordan's greatness, you can't just look at his opponents. You have to look at the people who stood beside him. Because being Michael Jordan's teammate wasn't like being part of a team. It was like being part of a test. Every practice was a battlefield. Every mistake, a lesson written in fire. Jordan demanded perfection, and if you couldn't keep up, he'd make sure you knew it. Stories from inside the Bulls' locker room sound more like boot camp than basketball. Teammates like Steve Kerr, Scott Burrell, and Horace Grant have all talked about how relentless Jordan could be. He'd insult, mock, and even fight them, literally. The punch he threw at Steve Kerr during practice wasn't a myth. It happened. And yet, Kerr later said that moment earned Jordan's respect. That's how twisted the standard was. To gain MJ's approval, you had to survive him. To outsiders, this looked like leadership through fear. To Jordan, it was accountability. He believed that if you couldn't handle his pressure, you'd collapse under the finals lights. He wasn't trying to be liked, he was trying to win. But it also meant that his teammates often became background characters in his story. The Last Dance documentary showed this perfectly. Jordan as the flawless warrior, and everyone else's supporting cast. Many of those players later said the film painted them unfairly, glorifying his legend while glossing over their own sacrifices. And maybe that's the cost of greatness. You can't build a god without breaking a few mortals. Jordan's intensity forged champions, but it also left bruises that never healed. Yet even after all that, the fights, the fear, the control, every single one of them still said the same thing. We wouldn't have won without him. Because love him or hate him, Jordan didn't just raise the bar. He was the bar. Section 6. Legacy, GOAT debate, and what elite really means. 3 decades later, the debate still rages. Is Michael Jordan the greatest of all time? Every era brings new challengers. Kobe, LeBron, even young phenoms like Giannis or Luka. But the conversation always circles back to one man. Because elite doesn't just mean numbers or trophies. It's about how completely someone defines their era. And Jordan didn't just dominate his, he owned it. In 6 finals appearances, he never lost. Not once. 6 trips, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. No Game 7s needed. That alone feels impossible in today's league. But what truly separates Jordan is that his greatness feels undeniable. Even people who argue for LeBron end up measuring him against Jordan's standards. Every comeback, every clutch shot, every killer instinct. We learned those phrases from him. But what if being elite means more than dominance? What if it also means impact? Because when Jordan retired, twice, the NBA's ratings dipped. When he came back, they skyrocketed. Players changed how they dressed, how they trained, how they carried themselves, all because of him. Even today, a single retro Air Jordan release can shut down city blocks. His name still moves culture, like he's in the starting lineup. Still, some say he benefited from a perfect storm. Weaker defenses, global marketing, no social media scrutiny. Maybe, but that's the thing about legends. They're built in the moments the world gives them, and Jordan maximized every one. So, how elite was Michael Jordan actually? He wasn't just elite in basketball. He was elite in influence, elite in obsession, elite in how he owned time itself. Section 7. So when you strip everything away, take away the trophies, the sneakers, the marketing, the myth. What's left? A man who refused to lose. That's Michael Jordan at his core. Not a brand, not a billionaire, not a god. Just a competitor so addicted to winning that he bent reality around him. Every moment of his career, from rookie year to his final shot with the Wizards, carried that same fire. Proved them wrong, again and again. But that hunger didn't end when the games did. You can still see it in the way he talks about old rivals, like the wounds never healed. That's the thing about true greatness. It never feels complete. There's always another mountain to climb, even when you've already conquered the world. So maybe the question isn't how elite Michael Jordan was. Maybe the better question is how much more elite he could have been if he ever learned to stop chasing ghosts. Because in the end, Jordan wasn't playing against others. He was playing against an image of himself. And that image? It still rules the game today. Section 8. The myth that never dies. Decades after his final game, Michael Jordan's shadow still looms over everything basketball touches. Every draft pick is compared to him. Every clutch shot is measured against his. Every young player who dreams of greatness eventually faces the same impossible question. Can you be the next Jordan? And the truth is, they can't. Not because they lack talent, but because the conditions that created him can never exist again. Jordan played in a time before social media, before constant scrutiny, before every move was dissected frame by frame. His legend was built in mystery. We saw only what the cameras let us see, and what we saw was perfection. That distance made him larger than life. In today's world, where stars are humanized instantly, that kind of myth is impossible. Maybe that's why his aura hasn't faded. He represents something no algorithm can replicate. The last era where greatness could feel untouchable. The world has changed, the game has evolved, and new kings have risen. But Jordan remains the reference point. Because when people say the GOAT, they don't think of a list, they think of one man.